So today's lesson is called Combining Integers. By the end of today's lesson, you're going to be able to solve any problems involving integers. So first off, we're going to be learning some new terms. Our first new term is called the additive inverse. It's the opposite of a number. So for example, if we start with 20, the additive inverse of 20 would be a negative 20. Then if we start with a negative 10, the additive inverse would be a positive 10. You're looking for the opposite. This is just our technical math term called the additive inverse. Then our next new term is the inverse property of addition. So what is this telling us? It's telling us if we take an integer and its additive inverse and we find the sum, so we're adding it together, it's always going to give us 0. So for example, I have 20. This is my integer. I find its additive inverse, which is a negative 20. The sum, which I add together, is going to be 0, which I have right here. So basically what we're doing is we're trying to make it equal to 0. How do we make it equal to 0? By combining it with its additive inverse. So make sure that this is in your notes along with an example. Now in your notes, don't worry about the number line. What I do want you to have in your notes is the same signs. That is what I want in your notes. Now go ahead and write down example number 1. Don't worry about different signs just yet. We're focusing only on number 1 for right now. So if we take a look at number 1, we're starting off with a positive 3. So I go from 0 and I go up positive 3. Then if I look behind it, I'm adding 4 to it. So I go from 3 and adding 4 to it. So if you're just counting on the number line, let's count it out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what do you think our answer is going to be? Our answer is going to be a positive 7. We're just counting along the number line. Or if you noticed, you could have just said in your head, oh, what's 3 plus 4? 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. Now if you notice, we're dealing with the same signs. We're dealing with a positive 3 and a positive 4. Now we're going to take a look at example number 2. Example number 2, we have a negative 2 and then we have a negative 4. Or another way of saying is we are subtracting. But if you notice, I have a negative and a negative. I have the same exact sign. So see what happens on the number line. So I have to go down to negative 2. And then from negative 2, I'm going down even further because I'm subtracting 4. So I go down a negative 4. And to see how far I went down, let's just go and count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went down negative 6. So what do you think my answer is going to be? My answer is going to be a negative 6. Now I want you to notice something. I had a positive, ended up with a positive. I had a negative, what did I, oops, those are bad circles. A negative and a negative, what did I end up with? A negative. Are you seeing kind of a pattern when it happens when we have the same sign? Let's take a look at example number 3. Now I have to go up 1. Now remember it's a positive 1. We assume it's a positive 1 because there's no negative, so we go up 1. But then I'm also increasing by 5. I'm adding 5 to it. And to figure out how far we went, we can always count on the number line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We ended up at 6. So we think my answer is going to be, my answer also ends up being 6. Now, remember, with this 1, there is nothing in front of it, but we assume it's a positive 1. Then we're adding 5. If you notice, I have a positive and a positive. What did I end up with? A positive 6. Are you starting to see the pattern now? So, when it comes to having the same exact sign, all you're doing is adding up the sum of the numbers. All we do to add up, what's 3 plus 4? We have 7. What's 2 plus 4? Is equal to 6. What's 1 plus 5? Equal to 6. But you have to be very careful. What is the sign? Started with the positive, ended with the positive. Started with the negative, ended with the negative. Be very careful about the signs. Now, go and write down the different signs and our first example. Now, to be very careful about the signs. So I'm starting with a negative 3. So going down from 0, I need to go down negative 3, but then I'm increasing from negative 3 up 4. So I have to figure out the difference. So if you noticed, I went down negative 3, then I went up positive 4. So if you take a look, this little section right here cancels itself out. So what am I left with? I'm left with only this top part up here, which ends up being 1. So my answer ends up being a positive 1. Now let's go and take a look at example number 2. So I have a positive 2. So I start from 0 and I'm going up 2, but then I'm subtracting 4. So going from 2, I have to go back down 4 spots. So once again, take a look at the number line. We went up 2 at first, then down a negative 4. So this section right here cancels itself out. Now, where did I end up? 1, 2, I ended up back at negative 2. So what's going to be my answer? My answer ends up being a negative 2. Now, what have you noticed here so far? I had a positive 4, ended up with a positive number. Ended up with a negative 4, ended up with a negative number. Do you see a pattern that's emerging? Let's go and take a look at example number 3. Now, I have a negative 5, that means I need to go down 5 spaces, but then I'm adding 1 to it, so I have to go back up 1 space. So if you notice, this little section right here is going to cancel itself out. So how much do I have left over? Well, let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I end up at a negative 4. So I think my answer is going to be. My answer ends up being a negative 4. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of technical difficulties. And if you notice, all we're doing is the difference of the numbers. So I'm just finding the difference. So what's 4 minus 3? Well, it's equal to 1. What's 4 minus 2? It's equal to 2. What's 5 minus 1? It's equal to 4. But what do we have to be very careful about, though? You have to be very careful about the sign in front. Which one is the bigger one? In this case, my 4 was bigger, ended up being positive. 4 was bigger, ended up being negative. 5 was bigger, ended up being negative. So be careful. What happens when they're the same sign? What happens when they're the different sign? You should just be adding them up, finding the sum, or if they're different signs, find the difference and subtracting them. Be careful. Now, we're going to go and combine these following integers. So, we're going to work on number 1 at first. Now if you notice, I have a negative and a positive, so that means I have different signs. So what do we do when we have different signs? All we're going to do is find the difference. So what's 10 minus 6? 10 minus 6 is going to be equal to 4, but which one's bigger? The 10 is bigger, so it's going to be a positive 4. Then we're going to take a look at example number 2. Once again, I have a positive sign and a negative sign. I have different signs. Because it's different signs, I need to find the difference. So I'm just going to do 9 minus 4. What is equal? 5. So no, 5 will be part of my answer, but which one's bigger? My negative 9, so it has to be a negative 5 is going to be my answer. Now be careful about example number 3. It's telling us we have a negative 2 and we're adding it to a negative 7. So the question is, do I have different signs or do I have the same? Well, if you notice, I have 2 negatives. So what do I have? The same sign. So what am I going to be doing? Because I have the same sign, we're looking for the sum. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add them together. What's 7 plus 2? 7 plus 2 is equal to 9. So 9 is going to be my answer. But if you notice, they're both negatives. So my answer better be negative as well. We're going to take a look at example number 4. I have the same sign. So all I do is add them up. What's 6 plus 8? It's 14. I have a positive, it's going to be a positive 14. Now I'm going to take a look at example number 5. I have a negative and I have a positive. They have different signs, so what I need to do, I just subtract them. So it's 12 minus 3. 12 minus 3 is equal to 9. 12 is the bigger number, so it's going to be a positive 9. Lastly, number 6. I have negative 4 minus 13. Do I have the same sign or do I have a different sign? Well, if you notice, I got a negative and a negative, so I have the same. So what am I going to be doing? Because they're the same, all I'm going to do is add them up. So what's 13 plus 4? 13 plus 4 is going to give me 17. So 17 is going to answer? Not quite. Got to make sure I got a negative and a negative, so my answer also better be a negative as well. Now I want you to watch and see what happens when we're dealing with our signs. I have 2 negatives here. That means I'm going to add them up, and since they're both negative, I end up with a negative 8. Then we take a look at our next example. We have a negative 3 and a positive 5. Based off my positive 5, I automatically know that my answer needs to be positive, so I find the difference. What's 5 minus 3? 5 minus 3 is equal to 2, so positive 2 will be my answer. Then I'm going to take a look at the next one. I have a positive 3 and a negative 5. Well, which one's bigger? My negative 5. So now my answer has to be a negative. Different signs, we find the difference. What's 5 minus 3? It's equal to 2. So I have my next answer. Now let's take a look at my last answer. I have a positive 3 and a positive 5. What does my answer have to be? Same sign. Stays the same. Add them together. What's 3 plus 5? It's going to be 8. So, ladies and gentlemen, take a look and see. Based off how the signs are, it's going to dictate whether we end up with a positive number or the negative version or the positive version, based off where the sign is located at. So now, let's go and try again and see what happens. Positive 2, positive 9, what do I get? End up with a positive number. Same exact sign, so I add them together. It was 2 plus 9, I get 11. Let's look at our next example. I have a positive 2, negative 9. Which one's bigger? My negative 9. So I know I have to have a negative answer. So remember, I always have to find the difference. What's 9 minus 2? 9 minus 2 equals 7. So I end up with a negative 7. Look at my next example. I end up with negative 2, positive 9. Which one's bigger? The positive 9, so it's going to be a positive answer. What's 9 minus 2? 9 minus 2 is 7, so positive 7 is my answer. And we're going to take a look at our last example. I have a negative 2 and a negative 9. They have the same exact sign. So now my answer has to be a negative, and let's combine them together. What's 9 plus 2? 9 plus 2 is 11, so I have a negative 11. So I hope you're starting to notice the pattern. You have to be very careful. Which sign do they have? Because it dictates what's going to happen on the end for your answer. Whether they have different signs, you have to figure out which one's bigger, or if they're the same exact sign, how you need to keep it that same sign as well. So now I'd like a two-sentence summary of what we learned today. We learned about additive inverse, additive property. We learned about combining integers if they have different signs, same signs. Two-sentence summary of what you learned today.